Hi, everybody. Welcome to Tuesday Notary Titans. My name is Bill Soroka. I'm the founder of NotaryCoach.com and the Sign and Thrive Notary Training Course and Community. And we're here with our co-host, Miss Carol Ray, from the founder of Notary 2 Pro. How's it going, Carol?
It's going terrific.
Yeah?
I ran into something. I was looking for a blog about SPW, which I want to talk about later.
Yeah.
And I ran across something I wrote in 2013 about my dreams about what this company was going to be. And it was just like the changes I wanted to make. And now we are 11 years later, and I've done it. I'm here.
Awesome.
We've raised the bar.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Pretty
That's
exciting.
huge. Yeah, that is very exciting. That is something to be excited about.
For sure.
I love it. Congratulations. I love when you see an idea or a vision that you put on paper, however many years ago, and then you see that it's actually come out of the ether through your hard work, persistence.
After beating my head on the wall over and over again, year after year. Yeah.
All right. Well, welcome. I see that your bandwidth is a little bit low, Carol, so I'll go over to Laura Biewer, who is playing by the rules. She has herself on mute as usual. Now my stable.
Okay.
Laura, thank you so much. Laura Biewer, founder of CoachMeLaura.com. How's it going, Laura?
You know, it is a great day. Great things have already happened. Great things are going to happen. And I feel good. So what more could be said than that?
Well, anything in particular you're excited about this week?
Let's see. Last Saturday, we did this great skill builder on apostille work. And for those of you who participated with me there, thank you very much. It was wonderful. I'm excited because Bill and I just finished recording something for the NNA conference, which many of you know is going to be virtual this year. So the good news is many more people will have access and be able to participate in that who would not have had that opportunity. So make sure that you check out our workshop on collaboration. So yeah. I think that's pretty fantastic. Love doing that.
Yeah.
And what's this week? Oh, you know what? They're starting to loosen up some of the restrictions depending on where you are. Stanislaus County in California is finally going to be qualified, I think, next week to start doing next phase. So I'm excited about that because sooner or later, I need a haircut and I need some other things too. That mani-pedi has gone by the wayside.
That's extremely important. I miss mine too.
That's very important.
It is. All right.
Self-care, guys. You know, self-care. We learned about essential. Who has essential work? Notaries were defined as we were part of the essential work. Then it was, what are the essential practices to keep ourselves safe while we're doing the work? And then one of the essential practices not really talked about a lot in terms of, you got to wear the mask and the gloves and the sanitizer lotion and all this stuff is self-care. That is an essential practice. And it's the only way you'll get through this pandemic sane. So take care of yourself.
I love it. Yeah, great riff on self-care, Laura. Love hearing that. That's definitely a top priority. Guys, for me, I'm excited because on Wednesday, tomorrow, I'm celebrating 3 years of Sign and Thrive. And that's unbelievable to me now. In fact, it's kind of surreal. So I'm celebrating kind of in my own way, obviously including as many people as possible. And I'm so grateful to Laura and Carol and Sue from Notary Assist and so many other collaborators that are chipping in to help make this celebration a lot of fun. So there'll be more on that as we come out. Right now, I'm excited because we are going to give prizes away at the end of this call as usual. And I have the link up. So all you have to do is click the link that is inside the chat window right now. It's notarycoach.com/prize. If you're listening and not watching, that's okay. That's where you want to go. Just sign up once and you'll be eligible for all the prizes at the end of today's call. We're going to go through all the questions first and do the prizes after the 1 hour mark though, guys, so we don't miss out on the great contents here. Thank you guys so much for all the messages. I appreciate that. So let's kick it off here. It looks like Neil has his hand up already. Neil, thanks for your patience. Would you like to unmute and ask your question? Neil, I can unmute you here. I'll go ahead and do that. All right, we can hear you, Neil. What do you got for us?
Hey, everybody. How are you?
Excellent. Thanks for being here. How can we help?
Yeah, great. This is more geared towards Laura. Laura, I was listening to one of your videos about wills, and you mentioned something about, when someone calls you, and let's say it's like a do-it-yourselfer, and you want to verify what they have before you go to the appointment. How do you normally do that? Do you just have them email you the documents, or how do you verify what they have?
I'll unmute you, Laura. Sorry.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So what I do is I do not have them email me the documents. I ask them to just read the titles off so I have an idea of the number of documents, and I know which are notarized and which are witnessed so that I can prepare a quote better and so that I know, what I'll be coming to see. And when it's a do-it-yourselfer like that, where they just downloaded it, it's likely not going to be many documents. I would expect you to hear there's a trust document, there's power of attorney, financial, personal affairs, there's a healthcare directive, there's a deed, they need a way to fund that, and there might be, I can't think what the other one is, there might be a HIPAA release. So it's usually only 4 or 5 documents, and remember that the will, except Texas, there's a couple states, the will is typically not notarized, it's just witnessed, and you can provide witnessing service to be one of them since you're there anyways. But if it requires notarization because there's an attestation at the end of it, don't be the witness because the witness's signatures are being notarized.
Right. Okay. And one more question. When you're doing general notary work, have you ever had situations where you went to an appointment and for some reason you didn't do the notarization? I mean, do you still charge for the trip, or how do you handle situations like that?
So that's a business decision. People should expect that they're going to pay for the travel fee because if you came there, you already spent your time and gas to go there. So obviously, there's no notary fee. I think it depends on your business model, and it also depends on why it did not happen. So if it was out of the control of you and the signer, things happen. Things happen for me too. And I typically, especially if they say, can we come back after we resolve this, and they're going to invite me back to do the job, I'm probably not going to be charging them on that one. However, if I clarified, here are the things you need: completed documents, valid photo ID, this, that, the other thing, and then I get there and it's not the situation they expressed to me, they don't have the ID or it is expired after I told them to check it, then I'm going to ask for fee. I'm going to ask for that travel fee in that case.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Neil. And we'll just mute him again. All right, Melanie Dodges, you are free to unmute.
That would be Melanie Dagus.
Dagus,
How are you?
Strike one, I'm fine. How are you?
First off, I want to say thanks to you and Laura. You guys are awesome. I've been following you guys for a few months now, and I've recently gotten commissioned and certified, and I'm all ready to go. And my question is this, and there's a lot of material we've covered, so I want to make sure I'm fresh when I have my first VA refinance signing tomorrow. Now, I've been a lender for 15 years, so I've been on the other side of the table, but now I'm going to sign. My question is, on the journal entry for document type, and it's a loan signing, what would I put?
So what state are you in, Melanie?
I am in Colorado.
In Colorado. So Laura, we were just talking about the journal event coming up. You want to take this one first?
So really straightforward. The document type is the title of the journal. Is the title of the document, right? That's the column you're asking about?
Yes.
Yes. So it's the title of the document. That's what goes there versus the title, the name of the act is where your notarial act goes. So they've
okay,
separated out the two.
So to clarify
so
that, Melanie, I'm sorry. So what I just wanted to offer there is, because there's a lot of confusion on whether there should be just one entry for your journal, or should there be one entry for every single document that you're notarizing. And you will get conflicting messages. So Laura, can you address that first? Because I think that's where the
Okay, is that where it was going?
Yeah.
So
Yes.
in a loan package, we will experience anywhere from 4 to 10 different notarizations, different documents that need notarization to happen. In your journal, some states require that you log every single one separately. And so you're going to name each document on each line entry and fill out all that information. You're not just going to put loan docs and get one signature and one thumbprint if you're in a state that collects thumbprints. That's all going to be broken out. And if you're in California, you know what I'm saying, because we're required to fill out everything practically. If you're in a state that encourages you to use a journal, but it's not the law, then you can pick and choose how many shortcuts you're going to use. My standard of care or best practice would be to do an entry for each one of them and take some shortcuts where you can by using stamps. That's one of the ways I do that. By the ones that it is obvious for all of them, it was the same, like your location, the name and address, the additional information. That's where I can take shortcuts. But I'm going to tell you, the purpose of the journal really isn't for them. It's for you. This is how you remember what happened. This is what protects you. This is what shows or demonstrates your professional practice as a notary. So even if your state doesn't require that, my gosh, I would not be a practicing notary without it. Because, lawsuits happen. The public is, fickle. They love you now, they don't later. Something goes wrong. The notary is front of the line. So that's the first thing they try to go after. So even if your state doesn't require to do one for each, I highly recommend you do one for each. And that particular column would be the name of each document that ends up being notarized.
So for instance, would your best practice be inputting all this information directly before the signing? Because if we have 5 or 6 documents that are going to be notarized, that's a lot of information to input in front of the client.
It is. And Carol and Bill may have suggestions other than mine, so I'd really like to hear theirs as well. My personal practice is that I integrate the journaling as I'm moving through the signing. I don't happen to do it ahead. I track with 3 or 4 important pieces of information, like I put an A for acknowledgement, and I might put the first letter or the first name of my signer and the time and the name of the document. Just a few things that I can move along and keep pace with my signer. And then whenever my signer takes a break, they got to answer the phone, they got to address their kid, they got to put the dog out, whatever it is, or they just want to read something, I take that time to backfill whatever I'm missing, so that ultimately I'm probably 80% done by the time I'm at the end of the assignment. There are plenty of states that don't address this, so you could do it ahead of time. I wouldn't do too far ahead of a time because, of course, you don't want to end up notarizing for somebody else before you got to that appointment, and then it's out of sequential order. Bill or Carol, would you like to share what you recommend or how you do it?
I do the similar thing. I like to incorporate it right into my process, in my flow. And as you get better and better at this, guys, you'll get faster and faster. So you'll find that there's actually a lot of downtime in a signing, even in a 45-minute signing. Because their heads are down signing, you've already described the document, and you'll have plenty of time to write it in there. That's how I prefer to do it, because I want efficiency. I can't take more signings if I'm outside of the signing appointment doing work for that appointment. So I don't like to prep that much, and I don't do it after the fact.
And I just want to add to what Bill's saying there. When you're prepping before you go, you're still spending the time. Yeah. You just spend it somewhere else. And so what I look for is, how do I do more than one thing at the same time?
Right. Well, I'm reflecting on my closings. I've been in Colorado for 5 years, and as a loan officer, and I've gone to 90% of my closings. I should have paid more attention to my escrow officers. Mm-hmm. However, I don't remember them having a signature for every single document they notarized.
They didn't.
So it could be that in Colorado they don't require that, but I do like your suggestions, and I will do what you say because I think it will be a better protection for me later.
I love that. And I love that you're adopting that as a best practice, because that is a best practice. And just to highlight what you brought up, many of us look to escrow officers as an example of how to do this, but that can be detrimental because they do not always do it correctly. There are experts in what they do, but the notarization is usually, you have to be a notary to get this job. So they go become a notary so they can do this job. They don't necessarily know what the legal requirements are. And you'll hear that in California. That's one of the notary's biggest complaints, because a notary that has attention to detail and integrity with the law will make them sign all of those different lines of the journal. And then they'll hear all the time, no one else makes me do this. The escrow officer never made me do this. This is the first time I've ever done this. I bought and sold 10 homes in the last 10 years. I've never had to do this. You're going to be faced with that all the time.
I anticipate that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
Well,
awesome.
thank you very much. Again, I appreciate you guys.
Yeah. Nice to chat with you. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, sure.
All right, Tom, you've got your hand up. Thank you for your patience. What do you got for us? You have to unmute, or I can do it for you, Tom. Let me try it. All right, you're good to go, Tom. Tom, going once? Tom, I'll leave your hand up, but I'm going to go ahead and mute you. Dominice, glad to see you on here. How can we help?
Hello. Am I
Hi.
muted?
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay. Hi, how are you doing today?
Great, thanks.
I have a question. So I made a list of law firms to call to see if they can use a notary. And I wanted to get your suggestion. I know that you guys always say when you're asking someone to make sure you can offer something of value. And so right now it's phone calls. If it was during normal times and we were able to actually walk in the office, I would probably take them donuts or cookies or something. But what would you suggest is a great way to, add value as I ask them if they can use my notary services?
That's a great idea. So you're asking, how can you right now, given the current times, still add value to somebody that you want to work with, correct?
Yes.
I love this. Carol, do you have any ideas right now? Have you heard from your students at all and any techniques or strategies that are working right now for building connections?
I had a brand new, the first thing that came to my mind is brand new notary, never done a signing before. And she had one last week, her first one, it was a refi. All kinds of problems, mistakes on the documents. She missed a signature. She spent a total of 10 hours driving back and forth, getting things fixed, working with the title company. Got it fixed, got the documents back. This was title direct. They called her the day after they got the documents back. They thanked her for all of the work that she did, that she demonstrated that day. And they asked if they could call her from now on to cover her area. She now has, in one signing, developed a relationship with this company that's going to pay her for months and years ahead because she took the time to do it right, even though it was a very difficult signing.
I love that.
I mean, that's just one example. It's putting yourself out there, offering more than what they ask for, and just being straight up front, honest. Don't pretend that you're somebody you're not. Let them know who you are and that you're real, and be yourself. Do what's right.
I love that. And you shared that story with me yesterday, Carol, and I think that's a perfect example of what we're talking about here. And the other thing that I'll add on too, there is, depending on the time, the perception of value changes. You know, what we may have coached 3 or 4 months ago is going to be different now. And here's the challenge that we have now. There are significantly less notaries working right now. So sometimes the value you bring to the table might simply be, I am working, I have all the gear, and I can help you right now. That might be the value conversation that people need to hear. And I'm hearing it across the board. Escrow officers struggling. Me, what used to take 3 phone calls tops to find a notary to fulfill a job might be taking 30 phone calls now, just trying to find notaries that are available and willing and have the right attitude. Although we've had to sacrifice that a little bit. We're working with people we wouldn't normally work with because we have no other options. So that might be your value statement right there.
Okay.
I'd like to interject something also, if I may.
Yeah.
There are some notaries out there that I've heard about that are taking advantage of this time by demanding a lot of heavy fees because they know they can get away with it. But I'll tell you right now, you're out of business in a few months.
Yeah.
Because these signing services, title companies, they aren't going to put up with this. You're gouging them, you're taking advantage of the situation, and there's a good chance that you're not going to get work when everybody's back to work because they aren't going to forget who did this to them.
Yeah. Always keep the big picture in mind, guys. Stay consistent with win-win, stay in integrity. Yeah,
Thank
can't
you.
go wrong. Yeah, no problem, Dominique. Thank you so much. That was a great question. All right, so let's look at Marilyn. Marilyn, thank you so much for your patience. You can unmute and ask your question. Or I'll unmute. There you go. All right. Hi.
Good afternoon. How are you?
Fantastic. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. I'm enjoying it. I'm brand new, okay? I'm in your course and I have your book and I've gotten so much information, my head is about ready to explode. I guess I'm wondering, do I really and truly need to accept a signing, because a lot of signing companies here in Georgia are sending me emails saying there's a notary job in Marietta or wherever it is. And because I don't feel like I have much confidence, I don't know what to do.
Great question. I know so many people on this call can relate to this. So first thing I would do is book a coaching call with me, Marilyn, so we can dig a little bit deeper. But first,
Okay.
let's talk a little more in general terms. What do you think is stopping you right now from having that confidence level? Is it just because you're
Well,
brand
because
new?
I'm brand new, okay, and because here in Georgia it's a little different with, having to have attorneys, okay.
Right.
So I'm not sure how to go out and market myself to escrows companies or title companies or whatever that is. So I'm not really sure where to go get the work so that I can go and try it, because I love people love me, and I think I'm going to be very good at this.
Yeah.
I just don't want to make an idiot of myself starting out.
Yeah, that's rough. Nobody wants to look a fool there, for sure. I can totally relate. So, but the work's coming to you, so you don't have to go out and find it. They're coming right to your phone and saying, "Hey, I got some work for you." So, what's the hesitation in accepting?
That I wouldn't do a good job.
Okay. All right.
Okay, even though I've been going through the training and everything, I've looked at the documents and everything, I really and truly feel like that maybe I'm too old to do this. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'll miss something. Maybe I won't have the right journal, it's just all of it.
I'll tell you in a minute.
Yeah, I hear that. Carol, I think Carol has something to say. Carol, is Marilyn too old for this work?
Yeah, sure do. Maryland.
Yes.
You're not too old. This last week, I've taken 2 students that were in their 70s. I'm 77. This is our prime time. So listen, you're going to be just fine. You really are. You've got a great mentor in Bill. He'll help you. He'll hold your hand. He'll guide you through the process. Just study your documents. And the one thing I can't say often enough, be yourself. From the moment that you walk in the door, prepare yourself on how you're going to handle handing out the documents. Have the whole process in your mind. When are you going to give them the oath? When are you going to have them sign your journal? How are you going to have them sit? But the main thing is, when you walk into that home, be yourself. Don't try to be anybody that you're not. People will know, they'll sense it. Laura and I were just talking about this morning. So one thing I tell my students, I have this whole thing about your first signing. It's on a video. And the most important thing of all is just be who you are. It's good enough.
I guess then I'm just gonna have to go for it then.
That's really it. So, and
Okay.
don't forget, I mean, Marilyn, you've been through some things, right? To
Yes.
get to this point in life, you've been through some amazing things. You've been through some hard things. You've learned a lot. All of that counts in this business too. You're an amazing human being before you're anything else. You can just be an amazing human being as a notary public now. And what I often tell my students is the most uncomfortable part of the signing is often ringing the doorbell, greeting, and figuring out where you're going to sit. Is pushing that paper across the table. It's, you know, you're a stranger, you're uncomfortable, they're uncomfortable. So if all you did was sit down and memorize that opening script I have for how to start a loan signing, all that does is it establishes that you know what you're doing. Maybe they don't need to know that you have no idea. You can be freaking out in your brain. That's okay. But you're going to establish what you're here to do. You're going to give the perception of control to them. Like, look, it's okay. You can slow down and read documents if you want, or you can sign and go. It's up to you. And then you can roll into it. What that does is it gives you the rapport. So when you come across a document and you're like, I have no idea what that is, you can say, you know what, let me make sure this is what I think it is. This lender's doing things kind of wonky. And then they laugh because that lender has been doing things wonky. You can count on that. It has not been a smooth process in most cases. So you can build rapport and then you can read it real quick. Oh yeah, this is your authorization for your escrow account. And then work that way. When you have the rapport, everything else matters. Suddenly you're sitting with a friend and the friend's not going to judge you or rush you through the paperwork. That would be the best.
Okay, great.
One of the things that I have found is that when you're going through these documents, number one, they're looking at you and going, how in the world does that woman remember, or that man remember all about these documents? They're all different. That's number one. I have rarely had a student that hasn't called me. They're always told to call me right after the signing. And almost, I would say 98% of the time, those people had no idea that my student is brand new. No idea at all. And like Bill said, they come to a document. We usually go over the documents before the signings. You know, I do it on like video, but when they get to a document where we didn't talk about, or they've forgotten about it or something, I told them, just look at it and go, boy, they're always creating new documents and I don't remember this one. I haven't seen this one before. Do you mind if I call my sister, my brother, my uncle, my whatever you want to call me, and get on the phone and we'll fix it right there and then, and they'll never think a thing about it.
Awesome.
So just know that at your age and your experience in life, that puts us ahead of the game, really. Sorry, you 20 and 30-year-old, but seriously, they have a lot of respect when we go into a home for somebody who is a little bit older, because they know you represent somebody who really has experience, you know what you're doing. So just go in there, and the minute they you walk up to the door, put that smile on your face, and just be confident and know that you're just going to be terrific, and you will be.
Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate it.
No problem.
Can I add one thing before we move on?
Please do. Yeah, please.
And that is, you're going to make a mistake. I've been doing this 16 years. I have not had exception-free work for 16 years. I don't make many, but it's going to happen. It's going to happen to all of us. And what's important for you to know about that isn't the mistake. It's your recovery from the mistake. It's that you make it right away. That's what matters. And that they've done studies on companies that have mishandled something or had bad product versus people who just got it and it was fine. And their loyalty and their respect went up because of the recovery than if that had never happened. And, you know, anybody can just do it. But if somebody can handle problems right? And problem solve. And even if they created a problem, they can correct that as soon as possible. And they show their commitment to doing that. That's more important than the next job. That's what's going to matter. So don't worry if you make a mistake. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
how do I recover from it?
It's a matter of.
Alright.
That's what my student did last week.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. Thank you, ladies. I appreciate it.
Yep. And just
You're welcome.
remember too, for everyone else, people are, for the most part, pretty cool. So they're not, you're not stepping into hostile environments where they're just going to shred you. They're usually going to be pretty cool, especially when you connect with them on a human and authentic level. Thank you for that, Marilyn. That was a great question.
Thank you.
They're thrilled to death to get through that loan process.
Exactly. Arlene Francis, thank you so much for your patience. Can you unmute and ask your question?
Hi, Bill. Thank you.
You
My
bet.
question, I'm in Florida, and I'm getting a lot of people wanting their wills notarized, and the UPS stores and the postal centers refer me because I'll come to them and they can't do those. The issue I'm having is some people are now downloading wills off the internet and copying wills from other people, and they may not have, there's two issues. One is, someone called me the other day and he wrote his own will. He didn't have a notarial certificate to attach, and I can't tell him what to attach. And he just wants me to stamp my notary stamp on the last page. I had to tell him no. So my question on that is, when people are calling me and they don't have a notarial certificate attached, because the way I'm asking them is I'm saying, read me the page that you want me to notarize. What does that say? And if it's not a notarial certificate, I say, well, I can't just stamp a page. It needs to be a notarial certificate, but I can't tell them what to get. Who can I refer them to for help? Because I don't want to just leave them hanging, but I can't advise them.
Great. Arlene, I'm going to pat, there's just a bad connection with us, Arlene. So it's very scratchy. So I'm going to mute you and I'm going to turn this question over to Laura, just on how to address documents that require notarization, but there is no notarial certificate. How do you direct people without directing people? Hold on, let me unmute you. I can't. You have to unmute yourself. Sorry.
All right. So this happens frequently, particularly probably more in general work than in NSA work. And so when they have a document and there's no notarial act, I share with them. So what notarization means is that I am certifying your signature. You're the right guy that signed it. And there are a couple of ways for me to do that. And I have those appropriate certificates. However, I need you to let me know which is the way you'd like me to certify that. And then I go on to share the differences between an acknowledgement and a jurat, the two most common available for the signature. And then let them either decide to reach out if they had an attorney, or if they want to reach out to whoever it is they want to reach out to, or they can choose based on my descriptions of what those notarial acts do. So I can't tell them which is right for them, but I can share what they are. And then they can make their decision. And sometimes they can't do it at the moment. Sometimes they say, well, I got to go back to so-and-so and find out. Usually the answer is, where is this going? Whoever the receiving agency is, what are they going to accept? And that's usually how I direct them.
All right, excellent. And the follow-up question that she has is, do the witnesses in Florida have to personally know the signer, or are they just witnessing?
So they can be one of two things. They can personally know them, or they can have been identified through a picture ID. All the witness has to be able to say what they're signing is that they saw this particular person signing that document. If they don't know them, then that they saw the ID that says it's that person signing the document. And it's the witnessing part typically is not a notarial act. They're just witnessing the testator's signature, let's say for a will. So you don't have to collect their information. You can record them in your journal, but it's all optional. It's up to you how much more information you would like to collect, for your own personal standard of care.
Excellent. Great question, Arlene, and thank you, Laura. Denise, thank you for your patience. Can you unmute and ask your question?
Yeah, I did a signing yesterday, 2 signers, 250-page package, and it took me 3 hours. They were forms for them to fill out, and I did, fill in every line of my journal as I notarized, but it seems like it shouldn't have taken that long. What am I doing wrong?
That's a really difficult question to answer. 3 hours definitely seems on the longer side, but there's so many factors that we do not control. We can't control whether or not they want to slow down and read. We cannot control the speed at which they sign, or the how ornate their signature might be. And some people just move at a certain slower pace. So my recommendation is just to optimize and get very efficient at the things you can control. So you make sure that there's pieces of paper in front of everybody at all times. You guys can talk, laugh, connect. You can be best friends after this appointment, but there better be paper and pens moving nonstop all the time. The other thing that really helps is in the very beginning, how you start your signing, laying out the expectations right away. Like, here's what I'm here for. This is what we're going to do. And having some sort of script and formula to your signing. Because if all you're doing is putting documents in front of somebody and saying, sign here, then their natural inclination is to slow down and read it. And even if they don't slow down and read it, they think they're supposed to. They don't want to look a fool in front of you either. So they're going to stop and they're going to stare at that piece of paper, trying to make sense of it for however long they think is appropriate. And then they're going to sign and move on. Nobody understands this paperwork except for lawyers and sometimes loan officers and stuff. Nobody wants to sit and read it. There are exceptions to that. So if you, from the very beginning of your signing, set the expectations, give them permission. Hey, if you want to slow down and read anything, feel free. But if you just want to sign and go, it's okay. You can do that too. Those types of little subtle psychologies can really help along. Carol, I'd love to hear your opinions on this as well. Yes?
I do have a kind of a follow-up to that.
Yeah, sure.
I'm in California, so with each notarization, I'm filling out the line each time.
Yes.
Okay, and it doesn't appear there are any shortcuts to that, correct?
There are shortcuts.
Yeah, Laura's
okay.
Sure. There are shortcuts in California. There are 3 columns that are not required. The name and address column, the where you're at performing the notarization column, if that's in your journal setup, and additional information or notes. Those are just for you, and you can put as much or little as you want there. The other shortcuts for us in California would be using ink stamps. I have one for the word acknowledgement. I have one for the date, and I have one for CADL DMV, because that's most frequently the ID that I'm presented with, so I only have to write in the number. So you just cannot imagine those 3 stamps make all the difference in the world for me to move along very quickly. I do still handwrite in the time. I just do the date part. So those are some of the shortcuts within the journal that make things go faster for me. I also use wording stamps on the document. Although I'm not doing it, if you handle loan signings, you're probably 99% of the time have a deed of trust. If you want a stamp that says deed of trust, that one document over and over and over again. I wouldn't have 10, 20 stamps, but if you have 3 or 4 that you use over and over again, those shortcut combinations and then integrating it as you go, that's going to make you faster. And that's going to make you still compliant.
Okay, so just to be clear then, the name and address, I don't need that, and the address where it's taking place, and additional information, those 3 are not a requirement.
That is correct. There's one more that's not a requirement if it's in your journal, because I don't know which style journal you have, but if it has document name and underneath that it says document date,
Yeah.
The date of the document is not a requirement in California. The date they appeared in front of you, which is the first column typically, that's the date required, not the date of the document. You can utilize that. Sometimes I have document names that are just too darn long because they don't want us to abbreviate in California. So I need all the space I can get.
Okay, but so you do need the document name in
Yes.
but not the date.
But not the date.
Great, thank you. That was really helpful.
All right, great question.
Bill, you asked me something I couldn't unmute.
Oh, yes. Yeah. So Denise, yeah, do you have anything else to add to the strategies for controlling the time that it takes for a signing to take place?
Yeah, actually, I do have something that seems to be helping my students a lot. In one of our libraries, I have something called a cheat sheet. And it's something that you can keep in your computer, print out, changing the names, initials, and dates for each and every signer that you see. Print it out, put it in front of them when they're signing, and they'll never have to ask you again how many initials or how their name is or what the date is. Even on reverse mortgages, you won't hear that. What's today's date? What's today's date? Over and over again, and you guys know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yep.
That saves a lot of time.
Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Denise. Great questions. All right. Brandy Plummer. Brandy Plummer, if you'd like to ask your question, thank you for your patience.
Hi, thank you so much.
You bet. Thanks.
All your guys' help is amazing. I am brand new. I just had my first loan signing on Friday. To all of everybody who's been speaking, I will say dive in. It's your only way to do it. And it is scary, 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 but you just got to do it. My questions are, first of all, I'm in California, so just getting that information of what is not required in our journal was detrimental because I had 3 loan docs in one signing, 2 signers. It took me 3 hours, and I did have to go back the next day because unfortunately one of the documents didn't show up in the system, and it felt intense and overwhelming, but I made it through and it all worked out. But saving those times on what is not needed will definitely help. And that was one of my initial questions with the concern, because COVID is definitely bringing an element to this that is a hard thing to build comfort with. And so that added a lot of time because I had gloves on and that was adding time and everything else. So, but my critical question is, my biggest fear is getting these docs sent back to me for something being wrong. And when it comes to the signature, and everybody says it needs to be able to be legibly read. But this gentleman and wife's signature on their driver's license, for example, you could not read what his specific name was, right? So I asked him to print out his name with his initial included. And he said, I've never been asked to do that before. And that's my question to you guys. Has anybody really gotten docs sent back because they did their legal signature, but it's not legibly read, if that makes sense, versus hand printed?
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, there's a general rule of thumb here. A signature is a signature, but it's not that cut and dry all the time. So, Carol, why don't you and I both take this one? Do you want to share your strategies for determining the signature?
Yeah, this has been an issue for years.
Mm-hmm.
And we kind of went to battle, and I say we, and Laura can connect with me because we've been in this business for so long that we see these changes that come up. For a long time there, they insisted that the signers sign exactly as the names are written on their loan documents. So if they have a middle initial, you have to see the name, the middle initial, the last name written out. It's changed now, and there was a bunch of us that got this change to take place because we refused to do it because of the fact that these are legal signatures. So if somebody signs with a scribble and you're looking at their driver's license and you say to them, does this constitute your legal signature, your name? And they say, yep, that's the way I sign my name. That is their legal signature. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. You cannot ask somebody to forge their own signature on a document. And we had to, and again, the group of us that been doing this for a long time, went to battle and said, no, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to sign it, and refused to make people sign that wasn't their signature, in a way that was not their legal signature. And finally, yeah, and people refused. My husband's here, and they refused to sign it too. No, that's my legal signature. Stick with what those people tell you, and have them sign their legal signature. And if a lender turns you down, you tell them, I'm not going to make these people sign in a way that's not legally their signature, period.
I'll add one caveat to that, and that is that to really make sure that things don't get jammed up, because that's really what we want, right? We don't want to jam the process up. So as long as their signature matches the one on their ID, that strategy works fine. The challenge will become when you have somebody who was 16 when he got his driver's license and signed one way, and now he's 30 and he signs a different way. If there's any type of breakdown, then I like to err on the side of the documents. Like, look, okay, we got two different signatures here. This is what they're looking for. If it's a squiggle and he's William David Soroka, I like to see 3 squiggles. Lenders can't complain. It doesn't have to be legible. There's no rule of legibility in a signature. So I'm not sure where you might have heard that, but it can be, if it's squiggles, 3 squiggles. If there's 2 names, 2 names. If there's looks like a middle initial, try to make it look like a middle initial, or just one giant squiggle. That works too. We can't get in and, like Carol said, we can't force them to sign a certain way, but we're looking for consistency too, because ultimately what the lender is concerned with is the note and the deed of trust. If anybody came back and disputed, oh, that's not my signature, I never signed that document, they want evidence to support that it is, in addition to a notary sitting there. Laura, did you have anything else to add on that one? Laura? No? Did we lose Laura?
No, I'm here.
Oh, there she is.
I miss mute. So the 2 things were, one is I asked, is that how you've been signing all the disclosures before you got to me? Because their signature's already all over the place. I'm not the first time. And if they say, yeah, this is exactly how I signed everything, I'm rolling with that. The second thing is, I don't know if you realize that telling somebody how to sign their name is the unauthorized practice of law for a notary. It is actually unauthorized practice of law, and it's a misdemeanor offense. So now what I do is I say, here's how they have your name. I see that it's Richard William Rogers, and this is their expectation. All I'm relaying is what somebody else said. I'm not going to tell them how they're going to actually do it. When I see something that I can't tell it's that, I'll ask, just like Carol said, is it all in there? Right? Is all of that in there? Yep, that's my whole name. That's my legal signature. I'm done. That's it.
Thank you so much. Great.
You bet.
So I completely illegally told them.
Hey, Laura.
So I'm going to go on faith here. I was doing my best. Can I ask just one quick question as well?
Sure,
I'm extremely confused with the notary fee and what we document when it comes through, signing service, and how that is documented in our journal.
Oh, she's muted again.
It's like automatic. You know, guys, I have puppy dogs here. and a cat. Sometimes you've heard her. I have a husband who's self-employed who sometimes comes walking through the door as if everything's great and he can be as loud as he wants. So I try to stay muted all the time. What I was saying muted was skill builder. So Bill, the message is loud and clear.
Yeah,
That
no
we need a
kidding,
skill
right?
builder on that. But just to address this specific question, what the Secretary of State's looking for in the journal is that you're not overcharging your client. So you would never want to see more than the maximum allowed in your state in any of the line entries. I wouldn't put $100 in one entry and then, you know, do a squiggle mark and say that's it. We wouldn't want to see that. So the way I do it, I'm in California, it's $15. And if I got paid $100, I would have 6 at $15, that's $90. My next to a 7th one would be $10, and anything after that is free, 0, 0, 0. So that adds up to the total amount that I received. And if it's the opposite way, I was lucky and there were only 2. I put 15 is 30, but I got paid 100. That other 70 doesn't even show up in my journal. That has to show up in my Notary Assist software where I track all my income for that, because my journal is not my bookkeeping system. It's just to demonstrate I'm not overcharging my clients.
Excellent. Great question, Brandy. Thank you. Janine, thank you so much for your patience. We can hear you. How can we help? I can't hear you.
Yes.
There you go.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, sure can.
Yes. I'm in a attorney state. I'm in Daleville, Alabama. I'm also one of Carol's students. Hi. Okay. Also, I had an interesting situation that happened today. I had a client, well, first let me say I'm close to the Army base of Fort Rucker. And I just had a client who came to me who had a closing document from another state. And I noticed that on the information that I fill out as a notary, will say in the state of, now I put in parentheses next to Texas, I put Alabama. Was that okay? Because I wasn't really sure regarding that because I'm not used to that. So I just want to make sure that I'm doing this appropriately. And also another thing is there has been a conflict regarding the payment. Now I know here in Alabama, the language is vague, but it does say $5. And from my understanding, it was $5 per page. But then I'm being told $5 per page and per signature. So I want to also get a clarification on that. I do know for a fact that it is $5, but even though you're charging them per page, are you charging them per signature as well? And that was all that I had.
Okay, great questions, Janine. When it comes to the state specific, let's look at Laura. Laura, do you have any information about the state specific in Alabama? I mean, it's kind of an off chance, but you are muted. Let me unmute you. I can't, sorry.
Okay, so for Alabama off the top, I don't know it, but as the conversation goes on here, I'm gonna just slip off and take a look. But here's what I'm gonna tell you. Notary fees don't typically go to pages. They're typically associated with signatures because you're notarizing a signature. And so I would think that the fee is set up per notarized signature, not per page, because it could have 10 pages, but you only notarized one time. You wouldn't charge them for each of those 10 pages. You would just charge them for the one notarization. So I believe that's how it's going to be set up, but I will take a look and confirm that if you guys want to move on.
Yep, great. And then
And I'll answer the first question she asked, if you don't mind.
Yeah, please.
And I'm surprised to hear it, Janine, but it's always where your feet are planted. That's what goes in the venue. On the notarial certificate, you've got the state and the county. You're going to see many, many times where it's from another state, another county. You just put a line through it, put the state where you are, put a line through the county as well, and initial those changes. Always where your feet are planted or your seat is seated.
Yep, perfect. Great questions, Janine. Thank you so much. And then Laura will hopefully maybe have some follow-up info for us in a few minutes. L. Young, thank you for being here. We'll unmute you. How can we help? Hold on. Oh, shoot. There we go.
Thank
Hi.
you so much. I appreciate the help. Just one question. I'm in the situation where when my governor enacted a caveat to do remote notarization, that kind of forced me to stop working because I'm not approved yet for the platform. We have to have an appointment with the Secretary of State and they're not open. So right now I can't work because they want us to do it remotely and I'm in Michigan. How do I go back? Am I starting over from scratch do I just go back to accepting appointments when I come back from this? Because I was working during this, the COVID area up until the governor made that change. So should I expect to be treated as new or should I expect to have any lost ground since I've been out of it for a little over a month now?
Great question. I think you definitely don't lose all of your experience, right? You still have all those, you still have the relationships with the companies that you worked with before. To me, right now, the experience I'm having is that there is so much opportunity right now because the demand is extremely high. And then the people who can deliver on the service level, like the notaries, there's a lot less of them working. So it's very easy. Carol just shared a story of somebody who just literally stepped into her first signing and has a client for life. Those opportunities are happening every day. So while this has been a considerable blow to some people's business, there's also on the other end of this, guys, like we've been talking about the whole time, as we emerge from this, the opportunity abounds. Carol, what do you hear otherwise or along the same line?
Yeah, the same. I mean, the people that are going out now, if they're doing a good job and they're not gouging people and correcting their mistakes correctly, everything that they should be doing, they're really gonna be able to get out there, knock the ball right out of the park.
Yeah.
But if they're doing something like gouging, they're not going to be loan signing agents very long.
Yep, very true. Laura, anything else on that?
Not on that, but I did get the information for Alabama.
Great.
That $5 is per act. So it's not per page. That means every time you perform an acknowledgement, you notarized a signature for that act, it's $5. So it's talking about executing the power of the notary, which is the act of the acknowledgement or the act of the jurat.
Beautiful. Thank you, Laura. Appreciate that. Digging into the law there. S. Break, thank you for your patience. I'm unmuting you. You can ask your question.
Hi there. Good afternoon.
Hi.
My question is on being a member of Sign and Thrive monthly. Is it the NSA signing party that you do twice a month, or which testing party?
The NNA test taking party is 24 hours a day. Anytime you want it now, it's recorded in phase 2, and it will prepare you for the NNA loan signing agent exam. In fact, you'll probably pass that on your first time with somewhere around a 90% if you jump in and do that.
Okay, so it's available.
Recorded. Yeah, available 24 hours a day now.
Okay, that's all I needed to know. Thank you so much.
Awesome, thank you. All right, Terry, thank you. I'm gonna unmute you. You are free to go.
Hi, Bill.
Hi.
I have a quick question. I'm in Los Angeles. There's a lot of new construction around, and I thought that you would be a good person to ask. Do you have any tips for soliciting, signing business for these tracts that are, you know what I mean, that maybe just sit at the tract and sign?
Absolutely. That's really how I built my business here.
That's what I thought I had read somewhere.
Yeah, sorry, we got somebody who's unmuted. I'm going to mute real quick. So when it comes to tapping into the building or a builder industry, still relationships are relationships.
Right.
So you still want to make that Fab 100 list, where I say, make a list of the people you've always wanted to work with.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to create it. If you're driving through a neighborhood, and this is literally what I did. I was driving through my neighborhood and I was like, oh, there's all these new homes going in here. How could I work with them?
Right.
So I started making a list of all of these. And then I overheard that some builders usually use the same title or escrow office, or they own their own. Right. So I started writing all these lists of builders. I wrote a list of Well, what I did back then is I had to Google it. I had to Google the name of the builder and just escrow and then see if I could delineate the relationship. And some, it's really obvious, right? Some,
Okay.
Mary Kay Homes owns Mary Kay Title. They make that really easy for me. But some of them, it was this builder and this title company. Are they related, or do they have a strategic alignment, arrangement to work with each other? So then I found those out. I identified them. I researched who I should be talking to, who works in that office, and then I would just find a way to connect with them. What I preferred to do, because I'm not a cold caller, so I want to warm up the relationship. So I found through social media, LinkedIn, Google, and Facebook, ways that I could connect. Sometimes it was a softball connection, a spiritual connection. Sometimes it was part of town that they lived in. Sometimes it was the high school they went to was a rival of mine. I've actually had those types of conversations.
Oh.
I had that low-hanging fruit. So I could reach in and say, my favorite is something to congratulate them about. And their bosses are probably bragging about them on LinkedIn. So I could reach out and say, hey, congratulations on that. Sorry, we got some there. Sorry about that. So there's different ways that you can connect that way, and then just allow the relationship to grow organically. Don't try to force it too much.
Right.
But but the builders are most concerned on the builder level. They are closing deals fast, so they need fast, efficient, and detail oriented, because they can't afford the mistakes. Sometimes they're signing at 9 in the morning. They're getting keys at 2 in the afternoon.
Right. I used to process loans for builders years ago.
Yes. So bring that into the conversation as well.
So basically, I want to hit up the escrower title, not so much the sales agents, I guess.
Well, just like any other relationship, the sales agents are licensed real estate agents.
Right.
Just put them in the real estate agent category. Great connection to have. You still want to connect, but you're going to ask them for a referral to their closing agent.
Okay.
Favorite closing agent. And for them, it's going to be their builder agency. But some of them might work outside too. So there might be other opportunities there.
Okay. Thanks so much for that advice, Bill.
You're welcome, Terry. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Okay, guys, we are at 1 o'clock, so we've got to wrap up right now. Laura, Carol, I know you wanted to share a little bit, though, with us about SPW. Can we hear about it? Carol?
She's muted.
I'm sorry, I was muted. I'm trying to be a rule follower, but it's really hard. But the SPW, I think maybe next time, because I do want to take about 10 minutes. I get so many questions about what it is, and it's very intense, and it touches every one of our lives, what happened in 2013. So I'd like to reserve that. But if I could, I'd like to make an announcement. We're having a special prime time meeting next Thursday night at 4 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. If you are not signed up, go to, and this is for those people who are more mature and want to do this work, right? And so go to notary2pro.com, and there's going to be on the homepage a place where you can sign up for the prime time meeting. We're doing it on GoToMeeting, and it's just geared really at the more mature audience and the things that we face being our age doing this work. And we invite everybody. They don't have to be Notary to Pro graduates or students. Anyone who's interested. So notary2pro.com. Put your email address in. You'll get an email.
All right, awesome. I love that you're doing that, and I love that it's really gaining some steam there, Carol. Guys, thank you so much for growing yourself and your business on a Tuesday. Carol Ray from notary2pro.com. Thank you for everything you bring to our community. And of course, Laura Biewer, founder of CoachMeLaura.com. We really appreciate all of your insight today. Guys, if you're still on the call and you still want to win some prizes, we're going to hang out here for a few minutes and do that. Okay, so today, we've already got several names in here, so let's do our first winner here. This is going to be for a copy of LinkedIn for Personal Branding. This is written by Sandra Long. She's amazing. This book really helped elevate my LinkedIn game and really gave me some ideas on how to connect with the escrow officers and attorneys that are all over LinkedIn. So the winner of this is going to be number 32, which is Patricia Bridges. Congratulations, Patricia Bridges. You have won this. If you would email me at orders@notarycoach.com with your shipping address, I'll get that out to you right away. Let's give away another copy of Sign and Thrive, How to Make Six Figures as a Mobile Notary and Loan Signing Agent. This was the book I wrote and released in November. So now we've got, let's see. Remember, we're not doing it inside the chat window anymore, guys. I've been posting the link to everybody who wants to register for this. All right, so now we're gonna do 5, that's 32. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, Linda Eckhart. Linda Eckhart, you are the winner of Sign and Thrive. If you could, I think I have your address from that great card that you sent me right here, so I'll get that in the mail to you right away. Thank you so much, Sign and Thrive. Now, let's give away some courses, guys. You know, as I mentioned, we are fast approaching the 3rd anniversary of Sign and Thrive. It's actually tomorrow. So we're going to be doing all kinds of separate little, the genie will be arriving soon for those. But for today, let's give away some of our most popular courses. So the first one, let's give away the Certified Reverse Mortgage Signing Professional Program that usually retails for $97. We are going to do this. Let's see, we got 118 now. So we will do 75. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Kitty Ann Ellis. Kitty Ann Ellis. You have just won the Certified Reverse Mortgage Signing Professional Program valued at $100. So I will send that to you in your email and just grant you access to that. Let's give another one away, guys. Let's give away the Laura Biewer Presents Library. This is a collaboration between Laura Biewer and I, and it is highly regarded. So let's see how many we got now. Let's see. 124 now. Okay, so for Laura Biewer Presents, the winner is, bear with me just a minute, guys, sorry. Celicia Young Jones. Celicia Young Jones, congratulations, you just won Laura Biewer Presents. I will grant the access to that. If for some reason you end up winning a prize that you already have, don't worry, we'll work it out and we'll find another great prize for you. Awesome. Let's do, oh, you already have it, Celicia?
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, we'll get you hooked up. Let's do the Get Known strategy now too, guys. This is a collaboration I did with Zion Brock. Get known. If you're ever struggling, trying to find what you're supposed to say on social media or in content marketing that will attract the type of people or customers that you want, this Get Known strategy is for you. So let's do that now. We got 125. All right, good. At least it's close here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Terry Kelly. Terry Kelly, congratulations. You just won the Get Known strategy. So guys, that's it. We've done quite a long, big giveaway here. Thank you so much for all of your support through the years. Some of you, I'm just getting to know you a little bit. So thank you for being a part of this. And I look forward to getting to know you a lot more. Laura, Carol, thank you for all so much for the gifts of friendship, of collaboration, and everything that you guys bring to the community. So thank you so much, guys. Have a great week. We'll be back the same time, same place next week. Bye-bye.
You didn't want to do Notary to Pro today?
You want to do a Notary to Pro?
Yeah.
Yeah, all right, great. This is awesome. So Carol has contributed a significant amount of these. So that genie I keep talking about is going to be popping through social media, granting all kinds of gifts lately. I have posts on Instagram at Bill Soroka and at facebook.com/notary coach, where you can share what your wish list is. And there's been so many great things on there. So now Carol has also stepped up and is giving up another Notary to Pro class. So thank you so much for that, Carol. Let's go ahead. Let me refresh this. Looks like we got a few more people. So this is going to be for an entire Notary to Pro course. Great. Okay, so Julie Ann Kiplinger. Julie Ann Kiplinger, congratulations. You just won the Notary to Pro course.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate that. And thank you so much, Carol. Awesome.
Call me Julie.
There you go. Just reach out to Carol directly, Julie, and she's going to get
I'll type it in the message thing here.
Beautiful.
My number.
Beautiful. Guys, let's give away 1 full year of Sign and Thrive as well. What the heck? We're celebrating the 3rd anniversary of Sign and Thrive, so let's do it. 1 full year in Sign and Thrive. Let's see. Let me reset this. Oh, you guys are still coming on. I love it. All right. Okay, this one is going to make me go a little bit further. Thank you for agreeing. That's 100. So it's number 121, which is 25. All right, we got just Nancy. Nancy at uncagedsage.com. You are the winner, Nancy, of the 1-year membership to Sign and Thrive. So thank you so much. Let me put this down. Nancy at Uncaged. Great. Congratulations to everybody. And again, thank you so much for your support. Have a great week, guys. And we will see you next week. All right. Bye-bye, guys.